Commander Veltar stood before the massive holographic display in the Vorthak Intelligence Division headquarters. The blue and green planet rotated slowly before him, showing continents covered in what appeared to be peaceful settlements and vast agricultural zones. His six eyes studied the data streams flowing beside the planetary image while his aide Kreshmol waited for his assessment. "This species calls themselves humans," Veltar said in his clicking voice. "They inhabit the third planet from their star, which they have named Earth. Our observation teams have been studying them for 50 Earth years now." The data showed a species that seemed almost too peaceful to believe. The humans had cities, but these cities were filled with libraries, schools, and what the translator called museums. They had farms that stretched across entire continents. Their young spent years learning about art, literature, and science rather than combat training. Dr. Minho Park walked through the halls of Seoul National University, unaware that alien eyes had been watching his species for decades. As Earth's leading xenobiologist, he had spent his career wondering if life existed beyond their solar system. The irony was not lost on the universe that he was being observed while he searched for observers. Minho carried a tablet showing his latest research on extremophile bacteria. His work focused on how life might survive in the harsh conditions of space. He believed that if aliens existed, they would need to understand how biology adapted to hostile environments. What he did not know was that the aliens watching him considered Earth to be one of the most hospitable and peaceful worlds they had ever encountered. The Vorthak had conquered 47 worlds in the past 1,000 years. Each conquest followed the same pattern. They would observe a species for a few decades, assess their military capabilities, and then arrive with overwhelming force. Most species surrendered immediately when they saw the size of the Vorthak fleets. Those who resisted were crushed within days. Ji-won Kim sat in her office at the United Nations building in New York, reviewing diplomatic protocols for first contact scenarios. As Earth's most experienced international negotiator, she had been chosen to lead humanity's response if aliens ever made contact. The protocols were theoretical exercises created by committees who hoped they would never be needed. She studied the carefully worded documents that outlined how humanity should respond to various alien contact scenarios. The authors of these protocols assumed that any species capable of interstellar travel would be vastly superior to humanity. The documents emphasized cooperation, peaceful exchange, and the sharing of knowledge. Back on the Vorthak observation ship hidden behind Earth's moon, Ambassador Kethmol reviewed the intelligence reports with growing confidence. The humans appeared to be exactly what the Confederation needed, a docile agricultural species that could be easily integrated into their empire. "Look at these cultural sites," Kethmol told his staff, pointing to images of human museums and art galleries. "This species values preservation of knowledge over military strength. See how they maintain these vast libraries instead of weapons factories." The intelligence team had observed humans during their most peaceful period in recorded history. From 2025 to 2075, Earth had experienced an unprecedented era of cooperation between nations. Climate change had been addressed through global collaboration. Wars had been replaced by economic and diplomatic competition. The aliens had no idea that this peaceful period was an anomaly in human history. Hana Lee worked late in her office at the Korea Institute for Defense Analyses, surrounded by historical texts and military reports. As Earth's leading military historian, she understood something that the aliens did not. Humanity's peaceful nature was a choice, not a weakness. Her research covered the entire span of human warfare, from ancient battles fought with bronze weapons to the sophisticated military technologies of the early 21st century. She knew that humans had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of killing each other. The recent peace was built on the foundation of mutual assured destruction, not mutual weakness. The Vorthak intelligence reports focused on human agricultural output, population centers, and resource distribution. They noted that humans had impressive organizational capabilities and could feed their population of 8 billion effectively. What they failed to recognize was that the same organizational systems that fed billions could also mobilize those same billions for war. Commander Veltar activated the holographic interface and began composing his final assessment report. Species designation, human. Threat level, minimal. Recommended approach, standard integration protocol with minimal force deployment. He paused, reviewing the cultural data one more time. The humans had something called the Olympic Games, where different groups competed in physical challenges. The aliens interpreted this as proof that humans preferred symbolic conflict over actual violence. They did not understand that these games were a substitute for war, not evidence of an inability to wage it. Dr. Minho Park received an encrypted message on his tablet while reviewing bacterial samples in his laboratory. The message came from a government source he had never heard of, requesting his immediate presence at a classified briefing. The subject line simply read, "Xenobiological consultation required." The briefing took place in an underground facility beneath Seoul that Minho had never known existed. General Tae-hoon Song introduced himself as the director of Earth's Planetary Defense Initiative, an organization that officially did not exist. "Dr. Park," General Song said, "we have reason to believe that first contact with an alien species is imminent. We need your expertise to help us understand what we might be dealing with." Minho stared at the general in shock. "You mean we know aliens exist? We have detected evidence of observation," the general replied carefully. "Stealth technology beyond our current capabilities has been monitoring our planet for decades. We believe they are preparing to make contact." The room filled with other specialists that Minho did not recognize. Ji-won Kim was there, along with several military officers and scientists. Each person in the room represented a different aspect of humanity's preparation for this moment. Ji-won Kim had been briefed on the alien presence 3 months earlier. The revelation had changed her understanding of her role completely. Instead of preparing for theoretical first contact, she was now preparing for an encounter that could determine the fate of human civilization. The alien observation patterns suggest they are conducting a standard pre-contact assessment, she explained to the group. Based on historical patterns from other species that have made contact with spacefaring civilizations, they are likely evaluating our technological capabilities, social structure, and potential for integration into their society. General Song activated a holographic display showing Earth from orbit. "What concerns us is that they seem to be observing only our civilian populations and peaceful activities. Their surveillance has avoided our military installations and defense networks almost entirely." Hana Lee stood up from her chair. "That suggests they are either remarkably naive about human nature, or they have already concluded that our military capabilities are irrelevant to their plans." The Vorthak fleet prepared for departure from their staging area in the outer system. Ambassador Keth Mole reviewed the integration protocols one final time. The process was always the same. Arrive with enough force to demonstrate superiority, offer the benefits of Confederation membership, and accept the inevitable surrender. "The humans will be grateful," he told his aide. "We are offering them technology that will advance their civilization by thousands of years. In exchange, they simply need to accept their role in the Confederation structure." The aide nodded. Though privately, he wondered why such a small species required even this much attention. The observation reports showed a world of farmers and scholars. A single Vorthak cruiser could probably subdue the entire planet. Back on Earth, the secret briefing continued deep into the night. Dr. Minho Park learned that humanity had been preparing for this scenario far longer than he had imagined. The peaceful period that the aliens had observed was not a sign of weakness, but a time of unprecedented global cooperation in developing planetary defenses. "The question," General Song said, "is whether we try to meet their expectations of a peaceful agricultural species, or whether we show them what humanity is truly capable of." Ji-won Kim looked around the room at the faces of Earth's defenders. Each person there understood that the next few days would determine whether humanity remained free or became subjects of an alien empire. The aliens thought they had assessed Earth accurately, but they were about to discover that they had fundamentally misunderstood what it meant to be human. The Vorthak diplomatic vessel emerged from hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system, its massive bulk dwarfing anything humanity had ever built. Ambassador Keth Mole stood on the bridge, watching the blue planet grow larger on the view screen. As they approached, behind him, his diplomatic staff prepared the standard integration documents that had been used successfully on dozens of worlds. "Signal the humans that we wish to establish formal contact," Keth Mole ordered. "Use the peaceful approach protocols. These agricultural people will be honored to meet a superior civilization. On Earth, the message was received at a dozen monitoring stations simultaneously. The alien transmission was broadcast on frequencies that Earth's scientists had theorized might be used for interstellar communication. The message was simple and direct. The Vorthak Confederation wished to meet with representatives of humanity to discuss Earth's future. Jiwon Kim stood in the Situation Room beneath the United Nations building, surrounded by screens showing real-time data about the approaching alien vessel. The ship was enormous, easily 10 times larger than anything in Earth's space program. Its technology was clearly centuries ahead of human capabilities. "They want to meet aboard their ship," reported Dr. Subin Yang, who had been analyzing the alien communication patterns. The translation software suggests they consider this a routine diplomatic contact, similar to what they have done with other species. General Tae-hoon Song studied the tactical data flowing across his screens. "Our stealth satellites show the ship is lightly armed for its size. This appears to be a genuine diplomatic vessel, not a warship." Jiwon Kim nodded. "That matches their behavior pattern. They observe a species, assess them as non-threatening, and then approach with minimal military presence. They are confident that we will accept whatever they offer." The meeting was scheduled for the following day. A small human delegation would be transported to the alien vessel using their technology. The aliens had specifically requested that Earth's leaders bring no weapons or recording devices, which they claimed was standard protocol for first contact. Meetings. Dr. Minho Park spent the night reviewing everything known about alien biology and psychology. The limited data suggested that the Vorthak were a hierarchical species that valued order and efficiency above individual freedom. Their empire was built on the integration of lesser species who provided resources and labor in exchange for protection and technology. "They genuinely believe they are offering us a beneficial arrangement," Minho explained to the briefing team. "From their perspective, they are lifting us from primitive savagery to galactic civilization. They cannot understand why any species would refuse such an offer." Jiwon Kim prepared her response carefully. Earth's strategy was to appear cooperative while gathering as much intelligence as possible about alien capabilities and intentions. If the Vorthak truly believed humans were peaceful farmers, then humanity would use that misconception to their advantage. The diplomatic shuttle that transported the human delegation to the alien vessel was a marvel of technology. It moved without any visible propulsion system and seemed to ignore the laws of physics that governed human spacecraft. Dr. Subin Yang made mental notes about everything she observed, knowing that this information might be crucial for Earth's survival. Ambassador. Kethmol greeted the human delegation in a vast chamber aboard his ship. The aliens were tall, gray-skinned beings with multiple eyes and limbs that moved with fluid grace. Their technology was seamlessly integrated into their environment, creating an atmosphere of casual supremacy. "Welcome, humans of Earth," Kethmol said through a translation device that rendered his clicking speech into perfect English. "I am Ambassador Kethmol of the Vorthak Confederation. I bring you greetings from the Council of Seven Races and an offer that will transform your world." Jiwon Kim bowed respectfully. "Thank you for this honor, Ambassador. I am Jiwon Kim, representing the people of Earth. We are eager to learn about your confederation and what you offer." The ambassador's multiple eyes focused on her with what might have been satisfaction. "Your species has been observed and assessed according to our standard protocols. We have determined that Earth possesses valuable agricultural resources and a population capable of productive labor. The Confederation offers you protection, advanced technology, and integration into galactic civilization." Dr. Subin Yang watched the alien's body language carefully. There was no indication of deception or hostility. The ambassador genuinely believed he was making a generous offer to a primitive species that would be grateful for the opportunity. "What would this integration involve?" Jiwon Kim asked carefully. Kethmol activated a holographic display showing Earth divided into zones. "Your population will be relocated to designated agricultural areas where you can continue your farming activities under Confederation guidance. Your cities will be converted to resource extraction centers. Your planet's metals, energy sources, and biological materials will be harvested for the benefit of the greater galactic community. The human delegation exchanged glances. The aliens were describing the complete subjugation of humanity with the casual tone of someone discussing crop rotation. They truly believed that humans would welcome this arrangement. And if we prefer to remain independent? Ji-won Kim asked. The ambassador's expression changed subtly. His multiple eyes blinked in a pattern that Dr. Subin Yang recognized as confusion. Independence is not a viable option for primitive species. You lack the technology and knowledge necessary for interstellar survival. The galaxy is dangerous for unprotected worlds. Tae-won Choi, Earth's Secretary of Defense, had remained silent throughout the meeting. Now, he leaned forward slightly. What if we choose to decline your generous offer? Kethamol's confusion deepened. Decline? I do not understand. No species has ever declined Confederation membership. The benefits are obvious to any rational mind. But hypothetically, Ji-won Kim pressed, what would happen if we said no? The ambassador's tone became slightly more formal. Species that fail to recognize the benefits of integration sometimes require assistance in understanding their position. The Confederation has protocols for helping confused populations make the correct choice. Dr. Subin Yang felt a chill run down her spine. The alien's words were polite, but the meaning was clear. Refusal would result in military action to force compliance. We appreciate your offer, Ji-won Kim said diplomatically. Such an important decision requires consultation with our entire population. How long do we have to consider your proposal? Kethamol seemed pleased by this response. Of course, primitive species often need time to overcome their initial fear of change. You have one rotation of your planet to reach the correct decision. The human delegation was transported back to Earth with the aliens' ultimatum hanging over them like a sword. 24 hours to surrender humanity's freedom or face the consequences of resistance. In the Situation Room, General Song activated communication links to military commanders around the globe. Protocol 7 is now in effect, he announced. All units to full readiness. This is not a drill. Across Earth, systems that had been hidden for decades came online. Weapons that had been disguised as civilian infrastructure powered up. Military personnel who had been working in seemingly peaceful jobs reported to their true assignments. Jin Woo Lim received the activation signal while working at his cover job as a university engineering professor. Within hours, he was in the commander's chair of Earth's most advanced warship, hidden in an asteroid belt facility that officially did not exist. The Vorthak had observed Earth during humanity's peaceful period, but they had never seen what humans were capable of when their survival was threatened. They had misinterpreted humanity's organizational capabilities, assuming that a species that could feed 8 billion people was naturally docile. Minji Kang reviewed the intercepted alien communications from her position as Director of Global Intelligence. The Vorthak were already requesting a pacification fleet, confident that a show of force would convince the stubborn humans to accept reality. They have no idea what they are about to face, she reported to the command staff. Their communications indicate they consider this a routine enforcement action. They are expecting token resistance from a few military units using primitive weapons. Dr. Minho Park studied the biological data collected during the diplomatic meeting. The aliens were physically impressive, but showed no signs of the evolutionary pressure that had shaped humanity. They had been the dominant species in their region of space for so long that they had forgotten what it meant to fight for survival. Ji-won Kim prepared Earth's official response to the Vorthak ultimatum. Vay's message would be diplomatic and polite, giving no indication of the storm that was about to break over the alien confederation. Tell them, she said to her communications staff, that humanity appreciates their offer but must respectfully decline. We prefer to remain independent and hope that our species can coexist peacefully. As the message was transmitted to the Vorthak vessel, military commanders across Earth made final preparations for a war that the aliens did not realize they had already started. The Vorthak thought they were dealing with farmers who needed gentle correction. Fleet Admiral Nextol commanded the largest pacification fleet in Vorthak history as it dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of Earth's solar system. 300 warships spread across space in a formation designed to demonstrate overwhelming superiority. The Admiral had used similar displays to convince dozens of stubborn species to accept Confederation rule without firing a shot. Begin the approach to the human homeworld, Nextall ordered from the bridge of his flagship. Deploy the fleet in standard intimidation formation. These primitive farmers will surrender the moment they see our true strength. The fleet's arrival was detected instantly by Earth's deep space monitoring network. In command centers hidden beneath major cities around the world, human officers watched as the alien armada approached their planet with casual confidence. Do-Yun Han sat in the pilot's seat of the Earth defense vessel Indomitable, one of 50 warships hidden throughout the solar system. His ship had been disguised as a mining station in the asteroid belt for 30 years, waiting for this moment. Around him, his crew prepared weapon systems that the aliens knew nothing about. "All stations report ready," announced his tactical officer. "Railgun batteries charged, missile tubes loaded, all systems nominal." Do-Hyun studied the tactical display showing the approaching alien fleet. The enemy ships were massive and powerful, but they were arranged in a parade formation rather than a battle deployment. They expected no resistance from the peaceful farmers of Earth. Dr. Yuna Song worked frantically in her laboratory beneath the Swiss Alps, making final adjustments to humanity's secret weapons. For decades, Earth's scientists had been reverse engineering technology from alien probe fragments that had occasionally fallen to the planet's surface. The Vorthak had no idea that their own technology had been turned against them. "The magnetic accelerator systems are operating within acceptable parameters," she reported to the command network. "Our projectiles may be primitive compared to their energy weapons, but they carry significantly more kinetic force." The human strategy was simple and brutal. Earth's weapons were crude by galactic standards, but they hit with the accumulated fury of a species that had spent millennia perfecting the art of destruction. While the Vorthak fought with elegant energy beams, humans fought with chunks of metal accelerated to significant fractions of light speed. Seojin Park coordinated the battle plan from the primary command center beneath Seoul. As Earth's senior tactical analyst, he had studied every piece of information gathered about alien military doctrine. The Vorthak were used to fighting opponents who used similar technologies and tactics. They had no experience with human military thinking. "Execute Phase 1, he ordered. "All units to attack positions. Remember, we get one surprise. Make it count." Across the solar system, human warships emerged from hiding places that had concealed them for decades. Asteroid mining stations revealed themselves as heavily armed battleships. Communications satellites suddenly sprouted weapon arrays. Even some of the space debris floating throughout the system was actually camouflaged human military hardware. Fleet Admiral Nextall noticed the first anomalous readings just as his fleet reached the halfway point to Earth. "Tactical, are you detecting artificial structures among those asteroids?" "Unclear, Admiral," the tactical officer replied. "The electromagnetic signatures are consistent with primitive mining equipment, but some of the patterns seem irregular." The first railgun salvo arrived before the Vorthak could process what they were seeing. 12 tungsten projectiles, each weighing several tons and traveling at 20% of light speed, struck the alien fleet's lead destroyer. The massive warship simply vaporized, its shields and armor offering no protection against the incredible kinetic energy. "What was that?" Nextall demanded, staring at the empty space where his lead ship had been moments before. "Report!" "Unknown weapon type," the tactical officer responded frantically. "No energy signature detected before impact. The projectiles appear to be solid matter accelerated to incredible velocities." The second salvo targeted the fleet's heavy cruisers. Human fire control systems had been designed by minds that understood the mathematics of destruction with deadly precision. Each shot was calculated to maximize damage against targets that had never faced kinetic weapons before. Captain Yunbi Cho commanded the destroyer Relentless as it emerged from behind a small moon. Her ship was 1/10 the size of the alien vessels she was engaging, but it had been built specifically for this type of combat. Human warships were not elegant or sophisticated. They were weapons platforms designed to kill. "Target the cruiser formation," she ordered. "Fire all tubes." The Relentless launched 18 nuclear-tipped missiles at once. The weapons were primitive by galactic standards, but they carried warheads equivalent to several megatons of explosive force. The aliens had energy shields designed to deflect beam weapons, but they had never encountered nuclear explosives. The missile barrage overwhelmed the alien point defense systems through sheer numbers. Human missiles were simple and crude, but Earth's military doctrine emphasized overwhelming firepower over technological elegance. Where alien weapons relied on precision, human weapons relied on brute force. Kyung-ho Kim led the first boarding action in human history as his assault shuttle attached itself to a crippled Vorthak cruiser. The former Special Forces operator had trained his entire career for combat against human opponents, but the principles of close-quarters battle remained the same regardless of the enemy species. "Breach the hull," he ordered. "Remember, they breathe the same atmosphere we do. No environmental suits needed once we are inside." The boarding party cut through the alien hull using plasma torches that had been adapted from industrial equipment. The Vorthak had never faced an enemy that would intentionally board their ships during combat. Their military doctrine had no protocols for repelling boarders. The first alien crew members they encountered were technicians who had never seen combat. Kyung-ho's team moved through the ship with ruthless efficiency, using tactics developed in 100 human conflicts. They were not there to capture the ship. They were there to ensure it could never fight again. Fleet Admiral Nextall watched in growing horror as his overwhelming force was systematically destroyed by an enemy that should not have existed. The humans were using weapons and tactics that made no sense according to galactic military doctrine. "How are they maintaining such accurate fire?" he demanded. "Their targeting system should be centuries behind ours." What the Admiral did not understand was that human targeting systems had been developed by a species that had spent generations shooting at each other. Earth's weapons were guided by computer systems that incorporated the accumulated knowledge of every human conflict from ancient archery to modern warfare. Do-Hyun Han piloted the Indomitable through a debris field that had once been 3 Vorthak destroyers. His ship's armor was scarred by enemy fire, but human warships had been built to absorb tremendous damage and continue fighting. They were designed by engineers who understood that war was not a clean or elegant process. "Sir, enemy flagship is attempting to retreat," his tactical officer reported. "Denied," Do-Hyun replied coldly. "Target their engines. No survivors." The final railgun salvo caught the Vorthak flagship as it tried to escape to hyperspace. The massive alien vessel broke apart in slow motion, its sophisticated technology no match for simple kinetic energy applied with lethal precision. Dr. Yuna Song monitored the battle from her underground laboratory, watching as human weapons performed exactly as designed. The aliens had expected to face energy weapons, particle beams, and sophisticated defensive systems. Instead, they had encountered humanity's preferred method of warfare: massive kinetic energy applied with scientific precision. Seojin Park reviewed the tactical reports as they arrived from across the battle zone. The human fleet had achieved total victory with minimal losses. The Vorthak pacification force had been annihilated by an enemy they had dismissed as primitive farmers. "Casualty report?" he asked. 17 human personnel killed in action," came the reply. 3 ships damaged but operational. Enemy losses, total. The news of the battle reached Earth's population through carefully controlled channels. The alien threat had been eliminated, but humanity's leaders knew this was only the beginning. The Vorthak Confederation would not ignore the complete destruction of a pacification fleet. In hidden bases around the world, human military units prepared for the larger conflict that was certainly coming. Earth had revealed its true nature to the galaxy, and there could be no return to the peaceful masquerade that had protected humanity for so long. Captain Yunbi Cho stood on the bridge of the Relentless as her crew salvaged technology from the destroyed alien vessels. Human engineers were already analyzing the wreckage, learning everything they could about Vorthak capabilities and weaknesses. The aliens had made a critical error in judgment. They had assumed that a peaceful appearance meant a peaceful nature. They had confused humanity's choice to avoid conflict with an inability to wage war. The galaxy was about to learn what humans were truly capable of when their survival was threatened. The emergency session of the Confederation Council convened in chaos on the capital world of Vorthak Prime. For the first time in galactic history, a pacification fleet had been completely destroyed by a species classified as primitive. The 7 member races of the Confederation gathered in their grand chamber, their confidence shaken by reports that seemed impossible to believe. Counselor Zethron of the Hegemony demanded answers from the military commanders. Explain to this council how 300 of our finest warships were destroyed by agricultural primitives with no spacefaring military capability. Fleet Admiral Nextall had survived the battle aboard an escape pod, one of only a dozen Vorthak personnel to return from the encounter with humanity. His multiple eyes were dim with trauma as he addressed the council. Honored counselors, the intelligence reports were fundamentally flawed. These humans are not peaceful farmers. They are apex predators who have been preparing for interstellar conflict for decades. The council chamber erupted in clicking voices as the assembled aliens struggled to comprehend this revelation. The Confederation had conquered 47 worlds using the same assessment and pacification protocols. No species had ever hidden their military capabilities so effectively. Hyam and Lee arrived at the Confederation capital aboard the captured Vorthak flagship Relentless, which had been renamed the Soul's Vengeance. As Earth's new military attaché, she carried credentials that had never existed before, official diplomatic status backed by demonstrated military superiority. The sight of a human warship entering Confederation space sent shockwaves throughout the alien alliance. The vessel showed battle damage from its engagement with the pacification fleet, but it moved with the confidence of a predator entering foreign territory. "This is impossible," whispered Counselor Vexmar of the Technocracy. "How did they acquire one of our capital ships?" Admiral Jeho Park stood on the bridge of the Soul's Vengeance as it approached the Confederation capital. The ship's human crew had spent weeks learning to operate alien technology, but they had also made significant modifications. Human engineering principles had been applied to Vorthak systems, creating hybrid technologies that neither species had imagined. "Sir, we are receiving communication requests from 17 different alien governments," reported his communications officer. "They all want to know our intentions." Jeho smiled grimly. "Tell them we are here for diplomatic discussions. Make sure they understand that we came in peace but are prepared for any response they choose to make." Dr. Suyong-jeon studied the psychological profiles of Confederation species from her position aboard the human vessel. As Earth's leading xenopsychologist, she had been tasked with understanding the mental impact of humanity's revelation on the galactic community. "The Confederation. Races are experiencing collective cognitive dissonance," she reported to Earth Command. "Their entire worldview was built on the assumption that they were the dominant species in the galaxy. Our existence as a successful military force contradicts everything they believed about the natural order." The alien reactions followed predictable patterns. Some species demanded immediate military action against the human threat. Others suggested negotiation and peaceful coexistence. A few began questioning whether the Confederation itself was still viable if their military superiority could be challenged so decisively. Dongwook Kim commanded a flotilla of human warships that had begun pursuing fleeing Vorthak vessels across 3 star systems. Earth's new doctrine was simple. Any alien military force that approached human territory would be destroyed completely. There would be no prisoners and no survivors to report on human capabilities. "Target acquired," reported his tactical officer as they detected a Vorthak courier ship attempting to reach their home system. "Orders, sir?" "Standard procedure," Dongwook replied without emotion. "No witnesses." The human pursuit of alien military assets was not motivated by revenge, but by strategic necessity. Earth's leaders understood that their survival depended on maintaining the psychological advantage they had gained through the destruction of the pacification fleet. Back on Vorthak Prime, military analysts struggled to understand human weapons and tactics. The debris from the destroyed fleet showed technology that seemed primitive yet devastatingly effective. Human weapons relied on kinetic energy rather than sophisticated energy manipulation, but they achieved results that alien defensive systems could not counter. "Their projectile weapons are crude but incredibly powerful," reported Chief Military Analyst Korthvel. "They appear to have sacrificed elegance for raw destructive force. Our shields are designed to deflect energy beams, not solid matter traveling at relativistic speeds." The Confederation's military doctrine was based on thousands of years of fighting enemies who used similar technologies. Energy shields, particle beams, and sophisticated targeting systems had dominated galactic warfare for so long that alternatives had been forgotten. Hyemin Lee presented her credentials to the Confederation Diplomatic Corps in a ceremony that would have been impossible weeks earlier. The aliens struggled to maintain their composure while dealing with a representative of a species that had humiliated their military forces. Earth extends greetings to the Confederation and hopes for peaceful relations between our species, she announced to the assembled alien diplomats. We seek coexistence based on mutual respect and recognition of sovereignty. The carefully chosen words carried an unmistakable message. Humanity was offering peace, but only between equals. The days of Confederation dominance over lesser species were over, at least where Earth was concerned. Counselor Zethron attempted to maintain diplomatic protocol despite the obvious shift in galactic power dynamics. The Confederation welcomes Earth's interest in peaceful relations. Perhaps we can discuss the terms of your integration into our alliance. Hyemin's expression remained politely neutral. Earth has no interest in integration. We prefer to maintain our independence while establishing trade and cultural exchange agreements with interested parties. The alien counselor's multiple eyes blinked in the pattern that Dr. Suyung Jeon had identified as deep confusion. The concept of a species refusing Confederation membership while possessing the military power to enforce that refusal was entirely outside their experience. Admiral Jae-ho Park received reports from human reconnaissance missions throughout Confederation space. Earth's warships had begun systematic intelligence-gathering operations, mapping alien military installations and assessing the strength of potential opponents. The Confederation military is impressive in scale, but doctrinally inflexible, he reported to Earth Command. They have overwhelming numbers but use predictable tactics based on energy weapon superiority. Our kinetic weapons give us a significant tactical advantage. The strategic assessment was clear. Humanity could not match the Confederation's numerical superiority, but human weapons and tactics were superior in direct combat. The key to Earth's survival was preventing the aliens from adapting their technology and doctrine to counter human advantages. Dr. Suyung Jeon noted the psychological changes occurring throughout Confederation society as news of the human victory spread. The alien populations are experiencing what humans would call paradigm shift, she reported. Their fundamental assumptions about galactic civilization are being challenged. Some alien worlds began questioning their membership in the Confederation. If a species like humanity could maintain independence through military strength, perhaps other worlds could do the same. The Confederation's hold on its member species had always been based on the assumption that resistance was futile. Dongwook, Kim's pursuit forces encountered their first organized resistance when a Vorthak battle group attempted to protect a convoy of fleeing civilians. The alien commanders had finally realized that humans were not interested in conquest or negotiation. They were systematically eliminating any Vorthak military presence that could threaten Earth. Sir, the enemy is requesting communication, reported his communications officer. They claim to have non-combatants aboard their ships. Dongwook considered the request for exactly 3 seconds. Negative. They should have considered civilian safety before threatening humanity. Continue the attack. The human assault was methodical and thorough. Earth's military had learned from studying their own history that mercy toward enemies often led to renewed conflict. The Vorthak had demonstrated their intentions by sending a pacification fleet to subjugate humanity. There would be no second chances. The news of continued human military action reached the Confederation capital just as diplomatic discussions were beginning. The aliens were trying to negotiate with Earth while human warships systematically destroyed Vorthak military assets throughout their territory. This is unprecedented, declared Counselor Vexmar. They are conducting military operations while simultaneously engaging in diplomatic contact. Their behavior patterns make no sense according to established galactic protocols. Hyemin Lee smiled politely at the confused alien diplomat. Earth's military and diplomatic arms operate independently. Our diplomats seek peaceful solutions while our military ensures that Earth remains capable of defending itself. We find this approach highly effective. The Great Alliance fleet assembled at the edge of Confederation space represented the largest military force in galactic history. 3,000 warships from all 7 member races had gathered for a final assault against the human threat. Supreme. Commander Velkoth of the combined fleet stood on the bridge of the massive dreadnought Galactic Supremacy, confident that overwhelming numbers would succeed where strategy had failed. "This primitive species has caught us unprepared with their unusual tactics," he announced to his command staff. "But no force in the galaxy can stand against the combined might of the Confederation. Today, we restore the natural order." The alien armada was an impressive sight, stretching across space in formation that had intimidated dozens of worlds into submission. Each ship represented centuries of technological advancement and military tradition. The commanders believed that sheer numerical superiority would overcome any tactical advantages the humans might possess. Chanwu Li received the intelligence reports about the approaching alien fleet while standing in the primary command center, beneath the Pacific Ocean. As Supreme Commander of Earth Forces, he had been preparing for this moment since the first Vorthak vessel had been destroyed. The aliens were finally taking humanity seriously as a military threat. Analysis confirms. 3,000 enemy vessels approaching the Sol system, reported his intelligence chief. All major Confederation races are represented. This appears to be their full military commitment. Chanwu studied the tactical displays showing the massive alien fleet. Earth's forces were outnumbered 50-1, but humanity had never allowed unfavorable odds to determine the outcome of critical battles. Human military doctrine was built on the principle that superior tactics could overcome superior numbers. Dr. Yan-Hee Park activated the psychological warfare protocols from her position in Earth's Communication Center. As director of humanity's newest military division, she had been tasked with a mission that no human had ever attempted: breaking the morale of an entire galactic civilization. "Begin transmission of historical archives," she ordered. "Full spectrum broadcast on all frequencies. Make sure every alien ship receives the complete record of human military history." The data stream that flooded Confederation communication networks contained the complete story of humanity's evolution as apex predators. The aliens watched in growing horror as Earth's true nature unfolded before them. A species that had survived ice ages, plagues, and countless wars by becoming the most adaptable killers in the galaxy. The historical broadcast began with humanity's earliest conflicts, showing how primitive humans had fought with stone tools and crude weapons. The aliens observed the development of increasingly sophisticated methods of warfare as humans learned to kill more efficiently with each passing generation. Captain Min Seok Yoon commanded the Earth flagship Manifest Destiny as it led humanity's fleet toward the approaching alien armada. The human force consisted of only 60 warships, but each vessel had been built according to principles that the Confederation had never encountered. "Sir, enemy fleet is maintaining standard attack formation," reported his tactical officer. "They appear to be using the same approach that failed against our forces previously." Min Seok smiled grimly. "They still do not understand what they are facing. Execute attack pattern Omega. Show them what human warfare really looks like." The Battle of Proxima began when the human fleet engaged the alien vanguard at maximum range. Earth's weapons reached across space with deadly accuracy, striking targets that believed themselves safely beyond human capability. The opening salvo destroyed 30 alien vessels before the Confederation forces could respond. Supreme Commander Velkoth watched his forward ships disappear from the tactical display with growing confusion. "How are they achieving such range? With kinetic weapons? Our energy weapons cannot reach that distance with effective power." What the alien commander did not understand was that human weapons were designed by minds that had spent centuries calculating ballistic trajectories. Earth's military had perfected the mathematics of long-range destruction through generations of conflict that had taught them to kill enemies before those enemies could strike back. The psychological warfare broadcast continued as the battle raged, showing the aliens how human military technology had evolved through constant warfare. They watched footage of ancient battles fought with bronze weapons, medieval sieges using primitive siege engines, and modern conflicts using nuclear weapons. Dr. Yan-Hee Park monitored the alien communication networks as the historical data continued to flow. Morale indicators are dropping across all enemy formations. Multiple ships are requesting permission to withdraw. The alien commanders are losing control of their forces. The Confederation fleet had never encountered an enemy that would broadcast their own military history during combat. The aliens were forced to watch thousands of years of human warfare while simultaneously experiencing the reality of human combat. Effectiveness. Captain Min Seok-yoon led the human fleet through the alien formation like a surgeon dissecting a patient. Earth's warships moved with precision that came from understanding the principles of three-dimensional combat, using tactics developed through centuries of naval warfare adapted for space combat. Target the command ships, he ordered. Eliminate their coordination capability. Human missiles and railgun rounds found their targets with devastating accuracy. The alien fleet had been organized according to traditional hierarchical command structures that became catastrophically vulnerable once key vessels were eliminated. The historical broadcast reached its climax as the aliens watched footage of humanity's most devastating conflicts. The atomic bombings of World War II, the mechanized slaughter of industrial warfare, and the calculated precision of modern military technology demonstrated humanity's commitment to total warfare. This species has spent their entire evolutionary history perfecting the art of killing, observed one alien analyst before his ship was vaporized by human fire. They are not farmers who learned to fight. They are predators who temporarily chose peace. Supreme Commander Velkoth realized that his massive fleet was being systematically destroyed by an enemy that numbered less than 1/20th of his force. The human tactical superiority was so overwhelming that numerical advantage became irrelevant. All ships retreat, he ordered desperately. Full withdrawal to home systems. But the human fleet had anticipated this response. Earth's warships had positioned themselves to intercept fleeing alien vessels, ensuring that very few Confederation ships would survive to report the details of their defeat. Chan Wu Li watched. The battle reports arrive at Earth Command with satisfaction. The alien fleet was being destroyed exactly as predicted. Human military planning had accounted for every aspect of the engagement, from initial contact to final pursuit of survivors. Casualty. Report, he asked. 12 human vessels damaged, 3 destroyed, came the reply. Enemy losses exceed 90%. The Confederation fleet has ceased to exist as an organized force. The news of the Battle of Proxima reached every world in Confederation space within hours. The greatest military force in galactic history had been annihilated by a species that most aliens had never heard of weeks earlier. Yoonji Han arrived at the former Confederation capital as Earth's new ambassador to the collapsed alien alliance. The political structure that had dominated the galaxy for millennia had disintegrated within days of humanity's decisive victory. The Confederation Council has formally dissolved, she reported to Earth. Individual member species are requesting separate peace negotiations. The galactic balance of power has shifted completely. The alien species that had once proudly served the Confederation now competed with each other to establish favorable relationships with humanity. Earth had not conquered them through occupation or subjugation. They had simply demonstrated that the old order was obsolete. Sung-Hoon Kim established the Galactic Relations Institute in the ruins of the former Confederation headquarters. As director of Earth's new diplomatic corps, he oversaw humanity's transition from unknown species to galactic hegemon. Our message to the galaxy is simple, he announced to the assembled representatives of former Confederation worlds. Earth seeks peaceful coexistence with all species that respect our sovereignty. We have no interest in conquest or domination, but we will not tolerate threats to human independence. The galaxy learned that humanity's greatest deception had not been hiding their weapons. It had been hiding their willingness to use them. The peaceful agricultural society that the aliens had observed was real, but it was built on the foundation of a species that had never forgotten how to wage war. Dr. Yeon-hee Park continued her psychological analysis of galactic civilization as the new order established itself. The alien species are experiencing what humans would call evolutionary pressure, she reported. They are being forced to adapt to a galaxy where military superiority no longer guarantees political dominance. The human victory at Proxima had demonstrated that superior tactics and warrior instincts could overcome any technological or numerical advantage. The galaxy was forced to confront the reality that they had been living in an artificial peace, maintained by an illusion of Confederation invincibility.